Before the city had a name, before stone and law and empire, there was only a bend in a wide tidal river. The Thames flowed slowly between marsh and forest, carrying mist at dawn and silence at night. For thousands of years, people crossed here, fished here, buried their dead here, never knowing they were standing at the future heart of one of the most powerful cities on Earth. London was not born in glory. It emerged from geography, accident, and survival. And from the beginning, it would be shaped by shock, conflict, suffering, and an almost unnatural ability to endure. The first shock came with the Romans. In the year 43 CE, the armies of Emperor Claudius invaded Britain, not to build a city, but to conquer a province. They marched inland from the southeast and reached the Thames at a narrow crossing point. There, around the year 47, they established a small settlement and bridge. They called it Londinium. No ancient text records the city's founding ceremony. There was no grand declaration, no mythic hero. Londinium began as a commercial outpost, a practical node in an imperial network, positioned to control trade routes moving inland and across the river. Yet, within decades, it exploded in size. By the end of the 1st century, Londinium was the largest city in Roman Britain, with perhaps 60,000 inhabitants, merchants, soldiers, administrators, enslaved people, drawn from across the empire. Then came devastation. In 60 or 61 CE, the Iceni queen Boudica led a massive uprising against Roman rule. After destroying Camulodunum and Verulamium, her forces marched on Londinium. The Roman governor, Suetonius Paulinus, judged the city indefensible and abandoned it. Boudica's army burned Londinium to the ground. Archaeology still preserves a red-black ash layer beneath the city, a silent record of slaughter and fire. This was London's first annihilation, and its first lesson. Cities, like empires, could fall overnight. Rome rebuilt, stronger this time. Londinium gained a forum, basilica, amphitheater, bathhouses, temples, and eventually massive defensive walls of stone. It became a symbol of Roman order at the edge of the known world. But order was fragile. By the 4th century, the Roman Empire was weakening. Troops were withdrawn. Administration faltered. Around the early 5th century, Roman authority in Britain collapsed entirely. Londinium emptied. The buildings decayed. Roofs fell in. Streets became overgrown. For generations, the once great city stood largely abandoned, a ghost of empire beside the Thames. What followed was not a smooth transition, but a long silence. Anglo-Saxon settlers avoided the ruins, founding their own settlement slightly west, known as Londonwick, near modern Covent Garden and the Strand. It was a trading town, open and undefended, vulnerable to the sea and to raiders. In the 9th century, those raiders came. Viking ships moved up the Thames, attacking repeatedly. London burned again. Trade collapsed. Fear ruled the river. Salvation came through force. In 886, Alfred the Great reclaimed the old Roman city, repairing its walls and resettling it as Londonburg. This moment marked the rebirth of London as a fortified urban center. It became a bulwark against Viking expansion and a nucleus of royal power. From this point forward, London would never again be fully abandoned. The Norman conquest of 1066 delivered another shock. William of Normandy marched on London after defeating Harold at Hastings. The city resisted at first, but eventually submitted. William understood London's importance instantly. He rewarded it with privileges, but also surrounded it with stone. The Tower of London rose on the river's edge, a fortress and a warning. Norman castles, churches, and legal systems reshaped the city. French-speaking elites ruled over an English population. Power centralized, tension simmered. As the Middle Ages unfolded, London grew relentlessly. By the 13th century, it was England's largest city and economic engine. The Thames became a highway of commerce, guilds controlled trades, markets overflowed. But prosperity bred inequality. Plague arrived in waves. In 1348, the Black Death tore through London, killing perhaps half its population. Corpses filled churchyards and spilled into mass graves. Priests died administering last rites. Social order fractured. Labor shortages destabilized the economy, setting the stage for unrest. Anger erupted in 1381. The peasants' revolt surged into London, fueled by resentment over taxation, serfdom, and injustice. Rebels stormed the city, executed officials, and briefly forced concessions from King Richard II. Though the revolt ultimately failed and its leaders were killed, the shock of common people threatening royal authority in London lingered. The city had become not just a seat of power, but a stage for rebellion. The late medieval period was violent and uncertain. The Wars of the Roses turned London into a prize contested by rival dynasties. Heads of executed nobles were displayed on London Bridge. Loyalty shifted with each new king. Stability returned only under the Tudors. Under Henry VIII, London became the nerve center of a centralized state. The Reformation tore through the city's religious life. Monasteries were dissolved. Sacred spaces were stripped and sold. Faith became a matter of survival. Elizabeth I's reign brought relative peace and extraordinary cultural growth. London's population exploded. Theaters rose south of the river. Shakespeare wrote for audiences packed shoulder to shoulder. But beneath the brilliance lay overcrowding, poverty, and disease. Plague returned repeatedly, forcing theaters to close and the wealthy to flee the city. Then, in September 1666, came the disaster that defined London forever. A barony began in a bakery on Pudding Lane. Fanned by wind and fed by timber houses, it raged for 4 days. The Great Fire destroyed most of the medieval city within the walls, over 13,000 houses, churches, and civic buildings, including St. Paul's Cathedral. Miraculously, few deaths were recorded, but tens of thousands were left homeless. London was erased once more. From the ashes rose a new city. Wider streets, brick and stone buildings, a rebuilt St. Paul's, designed by Christopher Wren, soaring above the skyline as a symbol of resilience. London reinvented itself as a modern capital. By the 18th century, it was the largest city in Europe, then the world. The British Empire flowed through its docks. Wealth accumulated alongside misery. Coffee houses buzzed with ideas. Financial institutions like the Bank of England shaped global markets. But the Industrial Revolution darkened the city. Smoke choked the air. The Thames became an open sewer. Slums expanded. Child labor, crime, and disease defined daily life for millions. Cholera outbreaks exposed the cost of unchecked growth. Reform came slowly, driven by investigation, outrage, and necessity. Sewage systems were built. Public health improved. The city learned again that survival demanded adaptation. The 20th century brought war from the sky. During the Blitz of World War II, London endured months of bombing. Entire neighborhoods were flattened. Civilians slept in underground stations. Firefighters fought infernos night after night. The city refused to break. Survival became identity. After the war, London rebuilt yet again. Immigration reshaped its culture. Former colonies became neighbors. The city grew louder, more complex, more global. Terrorist attacks, economic crises, and political upheavals tested it repeatedly. Each time, London absorbed the blow. Today, London stands as a palimpsest of everything it has endured. Roman walls beneath glass towers, medieval streets beside steel bridges, a city burned, abandoned, invaded, bombed, yet never erased. Its happiness is not innocence or perfection, it is endurance. London's story is not the triumph of uninterrupted greatness, but the hard-won survival of a city that learned, century after century, how to rise again.